at the top of the mountain was another castle, a castle that belonged to another king, the king of the men, not the king of the elves. And that king, he lived up there with his 3 daughters. I don't know why they always have 3 daughters, but they do, and he did. 3 daughters, and they were all sitting around the throne room when a witch appears. And she looks at the king, she says, "Marry me!" He says, "I don't think so." She said, "You better marry me!" He said, "Look, I'm a king, you're a witch. I don't think so." She said, "You're gonna regret this." And she picks up her staff and she slams it down on the floor. And suddenly there's an explosion somewhere else in the castle. And it's the treasury doors. They just blew off the hinges. And out of the treasury comes all of his gold, all of his silver, all of his jewels. They just float right through the throne room, down the corridor, out the door, over the drawbridge. There's the witch. She's standing by this big old boulder, and she smacks her staff down on the ground. The boulder splits open, makes a big cave, and all the gold and all the silver and all the jewels, they go into the cave. And she picks up her staff again and smacks it down. Up comes a green flame in front of that cave. And then she laughs a witchy laugh, like, and she's gone. And the king, he goes, "Well, that's a thing." And he turns to his servant and says, "Go get my gold and my silver and my jewels." And so the servants go marching over toward that green flame when, ooh, pretty soon they're walking backwards. Go back to the Majesty, "Your Majesty, Your Majesty, it's hot." He says, "Fine. Knights in shining armor, go get my gold and my silver and my jewels." And the knights in shining armor come out in their shining armor and they go marching up toward that green fire, and pretty soon they're marching backwards. "Your Majesty, it's too hot." All except for one, the biggest one, the bravest one, the bravest knight of all. He marches right up to that green flame and he melts. After that, nobody went near the green flame. The king, he really wanted his gold and silver and jewels. How is he supposed to pay his servants? He didn't know. So he sends out a proclamation. "Hear ye, hear ye! Whoever can get the gold and silver and jewels out from behind that green flame will receive 1/3 of the gold, 1/3 of the silver, and 1/3 of the jewels. And one of my daughters to marry." Well, lots of people wanted the gold. Lots of people wanted the silver. Everybody wanted the jewels. And some people wanted the wife. It didn't matter, because nobody could get near that green flame. It was just too hot. Even Bobby and Billy went out to check it up. They're like checking it out. They go back home. They say, "Hey, Jack, we saw that green flame. It is really hot." Jack says, "I want to see the green flame." They say, "No, Jack, you can't go up there. You're too little." But the next morning, when Jack wakes up, everybody else is sleeping, so you know what he does. He goes on up the hill to see the green flame, and it's really hot. He feels it on his face, on his hands. He sticks his hands in his pocket, starts to turn around when he finds the ring in his pocket and slips it on his finger. He says, "Oh, man, I wish that green flame wasn't so hot for me." And it wasn't. So Jack walks right through the green flame into the cave, and he sees all the gold, all the silver, all the jewels. Whoa! Look at all that gold and silver and jewels. That's more than I could carry in a year. I wish all that gold, silver, and jewels would pick itself up and carry itself over to the king's door. And it did. All the gold, all the silver, all the jewels just picked itself up, went right through the green flame, right out of the cave, right across the drawbridge, and set itself down by the king's door. And since Jack had done everything he wanted to do, he ran home. But the king was up on the balcony with his daughters having breakfast. And he hears the footsteps of Jack running on down the road. He looks over, sees the kid running down. He says, "Hey, who's that raggedy little boy running down the street?" Well, the oldest princess, she looks over, she goes, "I don't know, but he sure is raggedy." And the second princess, she looks over, she goes, "Yeah, dirty too." But the third princess, when she looks over, she goes, "Actually, I think he looks like a lot of fun." The father says, "I don't know about that, but Servants, go down and find out what he was doing by my door. Well, the servants go down, they open the door, and of course they see all the gold and silver and jewels. They start screaming. Next thing you know, the king's down there. He's very excited. He says, go get that boy! Meanwhile, Jack, he's already gotten home. He's standing out in front of the shack looking at it going like, I got a magic ring. What am I doing dressed in these raggedy clothes living in a shack? I want to be dressed like a prince. He was. He says, and I want to live in a castle, bigger than the king's castle, taller towers, deeper dungeons. I want a nice kitchen so my mom can make scones. And I want my own bedroom. And there was a castle. And Jack walks in, his mom's coming out of the kitchen. Jack, Jack, I made scones. And his brothers come running down the stairs. Jack, Jack, we got our own bedrooms. And then there's knocking at the door. It's the servants coming down from the king's castle. Jack opens up the door. They see him dressed like a prince. They're like, whoa, wait a minute, we'll be right back. They run back up to the castle, to the king. They say, Your Majesty, the boy is now a prince. He's living in the castle now halfway down the mountain. King says, we better send our best carriage. And they send out the golden one. One is shaped like a pumpkin. Cinderella used it. You might have seen that. Anyway, they send down the pumpkin pulled by 6 big, beautiful white horses. They pick up Jack and his mom and his 2 brothers, bring them back up to the castle. The king says, Jack, you are my hero. You saved me. Hey, Jack, you know that a third of the silver, a third of the gold, a third of the jewels, they're yours. Jack says, that's okay, Your Majesty. I don't need your money. King liked that. He said, but Jack, you can marry one of my daughters. Jack said, Your Majesty, I'm just a kid. I'm not marrying anybody right now. But it's all the same. He looks over at the princesses. He looks at the first princess, the oldest one. She's got her nose up in the air. She won't even look at him. He thinks, that doesn't look like any fun. Looks at the second princess. She's got her nose up in the air too, and she's not looking at Jack. So he looks on to the youngest princess. She looks at him right in the eye, got a big smile on her face. He says, she looks like fun. And he starts rubbing on that ring on his finger. He goes, I wish that youngest princess liked me. But for the first time, the ring didn't work. Do you know why? Because she already did. Jack and the princess, they grew up together. Sometimes in Jack's castle, sometimes in her castle. They had a wonderful time. They were always playing together. But when they grew up, they did not get married. Nope, the princess, she picked another husband. And Jack, he went off to be an artist. But they both lived happily ever after. Big eyes.